Welcome, Chris.
Hello, gentlemen.
How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Well, tell us about your company again.
Ximen?
Yep.
Ximen Mining. Well, we're working hard. We're into the summer season. We got crews out on both the Brett and the Gold Drop, and moving forward on things. Now, last time we talked, I don't think we talked very much about Gold Drop, did we?
No, not at all, as a matter of fact.
Okay. I'm sorry, gentlemen. Are we live right at the moment?
Yes.
We are.
Very much so.
Okay, excellent. All right. I just had somebody walk into my office. I'm going to get up and step out because it's early in the morning here, but we're all very active.
Yeah, well, that's all right. It's 7:30. You can get up and exercise, That's
Yeah, fair enough.
So, now your stock symbol for Ximen.
Yes. On the U.S., it's XXMMF. And then on the TSX Venture, it's XIM.
Oh,
now, we're also trading over in Germany as well, but I'm sure your listeners aren't trading. You're not talking to people in Germany at the moment, are you?
Well, I would hope so. We're worldwide on WPSL.com, so go for it.
Okay. Well, then the symbol over there is number 1 XM on Frankfurt.
Okay. So,
okay.
So Chris, what is this? Sprechen Sie Deutsch or something? What? Do you speak German?
No, I don't speak German.
Okay.
We did just do an interview for the German Stock Network, though, and I should get that, Mike, to you because it's a good little video interview outlining our assets and what we're doing. So it should get you that for your site.
And you're primarily a gold producer?
We're not a producer. We are a exploration company in British Columbia. So we're focused on sourcing and mining precious metal assets in southern British Columbia. And the company's basically built up with mining engineers. And so we structured everything to go in, from management and from a human capital point of view, we structured things to look at scenarios that we could take to production.
Okay.
And so what?
Now, do you do that contract-wise for people who hire you, or you just operate in that realm and whoever is interested can pay? Or if
no,
you're not,
we only do our own projects within Ximen. So we have two projects. Both of them we own 100%. We have some payments on them, but we own them 100%. And our two projects are the Gold Drop and the Brett. And the Gold Drop property is our first property, and it was a property that we targeted. It's close to the U.S. border in southern British Columbia. It's in a place called Greenwood, BC. And Greenwood, if you're unfamiliar with, was at one point going to be the capital of BC because it was quite a gold rush occurred there, and it was a booming little town. It's now one of Canada's smallest cities. However, if you walk in there, pretty much everybody in the city they either pan for gold or have their own gold claims, or it's quite prolific for a lot of free gold is found in and around Greenwood.
So, Chris, are you talking about during the original 49er gold rush, like in the San Francisco area, about the same period of time for this little town?
Yes.
Really?
Yes,
wow.
That's correct.
That's amazing. They were looking at that as the capital, huh?
They were looking at Greenwood as the capital.
I love it.
So
I think I drove through it in like 3 minutes or something.
Oh yeah.
It's not that big. Wow.
It's
Truckee.
just a tiny little town.
Yep. Yeah, you're right.
Tiny little town.
You're right, Charles. It is like Truckee, California. Yeah. Wow.
So, Greg, let me understand this. You guys own property, or you have the mineral rights on other people's property, or?
No, we've acquired the rights for ourselves, for Ximen.
Okay.
Okay, so we've acquired the mineral rights for our company, and we have
So
two
not the
projects.
property,
One is-
just the rights.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you know, however, they're on Crown land, so it's not it's not private land or owned by other individuals. For the most part, it's Crown land.
Okay. And
Okay,
that would be
and then
the
we
equivalent.
have the mineral rights. We have the mineral rights for everything underneath.
So that would be the equivalent of, let's say, the U.S. government giving opportunity to do land that they own.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, they, like in, they either have forestry land or BML land or
Right.
those kinds of things, government-owned land. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, the government's our partner, and they'll take a small commission on what we find down the road once we're in production, right?
Right.
So that's how that works. But basically, so we started off with we started by assembling a group of miners, guys that have experience in the mining business, and have been a couple of our key guys ran several different mines here in BC and have worked in mines all over the world. And they've been part of our team. What we wanted to do is we wanted to find a very safe political jurisdiction that was mining friendly, had opportunity in the precious metal space, that was in an area that we had access to, and so we've chosen southern BC. And our guys that we're working with, they own a full facility shop in Greenwood that's got all its own equipment, and there was an asset there that we were looking at called the Gold Drop property, and the Gold Drop property has basically since the early 80s, there was one miner that owned and operated that property, and basically what he was doing was he was just high grading that property, looking at any material that was 2 ounce to 4 ounce gold, and that's what he was looking for, and ran a small ball mill up there and was just basically high grading the property for high grade gold. So I think he stopped production in mid to late 80s. He's a senior guy. He's up in his 80s, and this property's been off the market. It's had mines in and around it, and it's got an enormous amount of potential, but it's seen no modern geology. So this was one of our first projects that we wanted to go after, and we looked at it intensively before we even brought it in the company, and we earmarked certain areas where we thought we were going to be able to create some bulk tonnage sample production. And so we targeted 2,500 ton bulk samples. That's what we're in the midst of doing now. And we were planning on just going in, doing some bulk samples, creating some cash flow for the company, moving the company forward like that. So this
now,
is
this surface
project.
Mining, or is this below
surface
ground?
and underground. It's
Okay.
surface and underground. As it is right now, and there's going to be a fair amount of news coming out here shortly. As it is now, we're starting everything. We've got permits on everything for drilling and for doing our bulk sample, for doing our trenching, and so we're going through all the phases and all the steps we need. So our target is to start some bulk sampling in the latter part of August, early September at the latest.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll be ahead of schedule the way things are going. But sorry, Mike, you were going to say something?
Well, actually, no. This is Greg. You're talking about specifically about the Brett Claims area, right? Just east of Vancouver?
No, we're talking. No,
this is something
about the
different.
Gold Drop.
Okay, this is a different spot.
This is our very first project, and it's kind of gotten overlooked because of the Brett.
Huh.
Everyone's forgotten, but this is really what we built the company on. Was we wanted to do some small, high grade, selective mining on the Gold Drop, and we acquired that property by thinking that the markets in 2013 were not going to be able to deliver us financing to move the company forward. So we wanted to have a nice tight share structure, a property that we could go in and do some production on with guys that know how to do production and have decades of experience in that arena, and have their own equipment and everything. That's how we started the company. And as we started moving through that scenario, the Brett popped up, and the opportunity to acquire the Brett became available, and we managed to acquire that as well, and it kind of overshadowed everything else we were doing. But the Gold Drop is a very exciting, to me, is a very exciting property. I've been there. We're working on it right now. We've put some news out on it. We've got a fair amount of news coming out on it. But what we're doing is we're going through the stages now, prepping it to the point where we want to be able to go in and do some bulk samples towards the end of August, early September. And so you're going to see some news flow about that coming. It's all permitted. And like I said earlier, it's only seen high grade mining on it, 2 ounce higher material that's come out. However, the Dentonia mine, which is another mine that was sort of, our property sort of surrounds this mine, but it appears that it's an extension of that ore body that was done at the Dentonia. The Dentonia, I think they pulled out 115,000 tons of 10 gram material. So we're on that same structure, in that same thing. We're just, we're right adjacent to them, and then they've done their mining, and then that property that we have adjacent has not seen that. So it's been very selective. So we've discovered a few things there, and we're in there actively right now on the ground and prepping that all up.
Chris Anderson of Ximen Mining. And Chris, I hate to keep bringing sports into this, but Whistler is about the only gigantic mountain that I can remember near Vancouver. How far is this stuff from Whistler? Or is it?
We're pretty far from Whistler.
Okay,
Whistler's
so it's a long
towards,
way.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And what kind of cost do you have, Chris, for the gold? I mean, where are you no longer economically feasible?
Well, when you get into all of those kind of scenarios, that's where you get your mining engineers in. Now, we've got guys that, when we get our economic PEAs, we're working on numbers that are internal. Obviously, we wouldn't be doing what we would do if we didn't think we could make a dollar at it.
Sure.
Right.
And the guys that we're working with, like Al Beaton, he ran the Erickson gold mine. It was one of the most profitable gold mines here in BC in the 1980s. Okay? So our guys have a lot of experience in doing what they do. They know how they want to do it. If we needed to raise a lot of capital and we needed to go and get a preliminary economic assessment done and all that kind of stuff for what we were going to do, we would go and do that. However, right now, what we're doing is we've got ore bodies that we've got access to, and let me qualify that by saying ore bodies. We've got targeted areas that we think we can see some production out for bulk samples. One of the veins that we're working on right now, historically, it's been sampled 1.1 ounces per ton, and we've got a good extension on that ground. We're chip sampling that. We're assaying that. We're looking at all the sulfides there. We're going to target areas there, because what we want to do is we have a target for the end of the summer of 3 2,500-ton bulk samples, where we're targeting a grade of a half ounce or greater, and that's what we're doing on Gold Drop. While we're doing that small bulk sample production scenario, we're looking at the overall landscape of the property, and we'll be looking at the bigger structures, and see what we can develop on a bigger scenario. And when we get into that, then we get into some more economics for figuring out gold costs if we come up with a bigger resource.
Now, Chris,
so right now it's a...
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, well, I was just going to ask you how you talk about fall. How late in the fall can you continue drilling? And when you start running into some, I would imagine, snow problems.
Well, we can get up into October.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe even early November, but up into October.
But now, is this
gold? We plan to be doing. We're looking at doing some bulk samples prior to that, right? So we're actually looking at hopefully doing some extraction of ore by the end of August, early September on the Gold Drop.
So right? The Gold Drop itself is not necessarily high altitude then.
No, it's as a matter of fact, it's very warm there. It's and all of our projects are south-facing, so they get the sun.
Okay.
And it's in an area there. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Merritt, but that whole area down there is it's not the snow capital, but it's it's still BC. You still got your winter time. So November we're pretty, when the snow starts falling, we won't be in there working.
Right. Which is the same as it would be at the Brett Claims area, right?
At the Brett, yeah. Now any of the stuff that we do, depending on permitting and stuff, both projects have underground adits, and I know that we don't have the permits in place right now, although we'll find out what the guys want to do after the summer. We can drill underground in the wintertime. That's not an issue.
Okay. What's the stock price today?
We're trading around 72, 73 cents, somewhere in that price range.
And outstanding shares?
Yeah. We've got about 14 million shares out. And our warrants are all cleared off, so if you want to own it, if you want to own part of this deal, you have to buy some in the market. And we got a pile of news coming forward here. So the gold drop's well underway. We got crews up on the Brett, and things are moving along pretty good.
Charles, any other questions for Chris?
Nope, not really. Unlike some of the other deals that we've been looking at lately, the stock trades here pretty well. In the U.S. market, it's currently 65.2 bid, offered at 66.8, which is not an overwhelming spread. For example, the way that Target Energy is for ADR. So this stock has none of the major disadvantages. It also seems to be levered pretty well to where, if there's any kind of a major find, I mean, you think about this, even if you started to get a little better production numbers, you're talking about a company that is, 10 or 11 million dollars in market valuation on the 14 million shares. You're levered pretty well, where $1 million or $2 million is a pretty major find for this company versus its overall capitalization.
Yeah, well, we've had, on both properties, we've got our drill permits in place. Mm-hmm. And the Brett project, we talked a little bit on your last show. It's just a phenomenal asset. I mean, this property is it's got quite a bit of drilling already done on it, adit done on it, bulk samples done on it. We have the drill permits on it, and we've attracted some amazing talent. And there's some more news coming about some more people that have come to join the team, and that's forthcoming. So I beg you to watch our news flow coming up here, because there's quite a bit coming out of the gate. The Brett in the past is produced like 55 feet of 1 ounce material, and we've had some pretty phenomenal drill results on this. I think it's probably known and famous for something that happened here back when Huntington Resources had the property. They had a stock that was trading around $1.30, and they drilled 2 ounces over 235 feet. The stock popped to $5.25 overnight.
Whoa!
Now that was done in the same zone that's on our property here. What they were doing, but what they were doing was they're doing RC drilling, and they hit a series of high-grade pocketed gold, and so it wasn't really reflective of true width. But the point is that this thing is very nuggety. It's very high-grade gold, and it's got a history of producing some pretty phenomenal results. So we've got our drilling and permits in place. We've got our teams in place, and we've got A-class crew of people working on this. We've just finished or just wrapping up our geophysics. There'll be some news out about that, and we're getting ready to go in here and do some drilling within the next month or so. And I think you'll see that once we start moving in that direction, the market, around this project has been very. I think we'll see some excitement, and if we hit anything like they've hit in the past, I mean, the last drill program they hit VG in 15 of the 18 holes they drilled. So I mean, there's a lot of potential here, and we could see a dramatic change in the sentiment around our company, I think.
Wow.
And when you put together this group of individuals with all of this knowledge and stuff, are they investors in the company? Are they salaried? Do they get participation in what they find? I mean, what is the structure that way?
Well, we have attracted talent. Now, the talent that we've attracted to the company is, I think, reflects the merit of the property. And to address your question about whether they have participation in here, we will be setting stock options and stuff for our team that is working on the project. Well, let me just go back. When we announced that we had the Brett and that we were bringing it on, our stock moved from like 30 cents up to 80 cents quite quickly. And what happened was, within the mining community, without a website, without a real presence in the market, a lot of people that are in the mining community recognize the history of this property, the results that have been delivered, the fact that it's been in fractional ownership for a decade and never been under one junior's roof 100% like it is now, and the path to production cleared the way it is, that we had several different people in the mining industry, from miners, and I know because I took a lot of the calls myself, that were coming in and investing and buying the stock based on the merits of the property. So I think that the caliber of the people that are coming forward is a direct reflection of the caliber of the asset that we've managed to acquire with the Brett.
So, Chris, is your website up yet? Your Ximen
No,
Mining?
but there's one coming up here shortly. I mean, you can go on the website now, and you can go to our Facebook page,
okay,
and our Twitter, and we're doing some social media stuff there.
Okay,
and you can sign up for the news releases, and the website is under development.
There you go.
Yeah, but you should sign up if you got a chance, guys, because we do have a fair amount of news coming out here, and I think you'll be some more additions to the team and some more developments, and then we hope to be off and drilling here shortly on the Brett, and be into our bulk sample program on the
gold
permitting and process for the gold drop. So there's a fair bit of news coming forward here over the next 30 to 60 days.
Wow, that sounds great.